Hi, Debo. You said yesterday that this was the toughest year in your 16-year NBA career. When you tack on the last 11 hours, just your reaction to Monty being mutually agreeing to part ways, and then now the hiring of Scott Perry.
Um, I mean, it's one of those things. I think it's just indicative of kind of the season that we had to endure from top to bottom. You know, still kind of really haven't set in yet. You know, really what happened from when Mike was fired to now this with us just losing last night. Coming down to the fact that it's no more games right now. So it's definitely been a year.
Um, I see you wearing a Godfather T-shirt, which I think is perfectly apropos for today. But when you after last night, you were pretty emotional. Just how difficult is it for a player who's been through 16 seasons to sort of feel the weight of your career, like careening towards the end, and what an early exit means for that?
I mean, it's difficult. It's frustrating. It's emotional. I mean, it's everything. When I only can speak for myself. Like I put so much time, effort, preparation, sacrifice into the game of basketball. As much as I care for it, as much as I live it. It's hurtful when you just don't give yourself an opportunity to play for what matters, and that's to make it to the playoffs, give yourself a chance, and then not knowing what could have happened. It sucks, especially when it's a scary thing when you just realize this is summer for me to get prepared for my 17th season. Some of my favorite players that I grew up watching. You don't even get close to that number. And to know going into that the window closing. It ain't like this job is like being a teacher or being a reporter where y'all can do this as long as you can. So for me, that's where the frustration and the emotional side of it come from.
Debo, I know you said that you're going to take a little bit of time off and try to reevaluate your future. But what factors are you thinking about when it comes to being here in Sacramento long term and thinking about your 17th season next year?
Just a structure of and a foundation of a compete level. I think all year we had such an uncertainty of of everything. You can't really operate in any successful environment if you have so much uncertainty. I think for me, just the certainty of what is going to be going forward. And I can always work with that. Just the certainty. As long as we put something on the table, this what it is. This was going to be. This what we competing with. I can work with that. But the uncertainty for me has always been the frustrating part.
When you talk about setting the tables, that's what they have to. That's what this organization has to do right now. One of the pieces we're kind of looking at is the uncertainty or the future of Doug Christie, who had to come in and learn things on the fly and work with you guys and try to get you guys stabilized and everything. Just wanted to get your thoughts on working with him as a professional and him working under those extreme circumstances.
I got all the respect and love for Doug, and I had a relationship with Doug years ago, way before I even ever thought he'd be a coach or I'd be in Sacramento. So the respect and love I have for him is unlimited, and to see him thrown in a position he was thrown in and be able to kind of rally us together when everything was kind of so chaotic. He held his own. First time being in that position, with so many uncertainties, like I said, going on. He kept us together. That says a lot. That says the capability that he has to be able to bond a team together, and him just being an ex-player as well. Like I said, I got nothing but the utmost respect for the job that he did under the circumstances.
Debo, obviously, this was a difficult year for everybody, and you've talked about, it being the most difficult for you. But coaches get fired and players get traded and these things every year. Just wondering if you can kind of illuminate a little bit, like on just what made this so difficult. What kind of factors were at play that made you feel that way?
I mean, first time in my career I've dealt with a firing of a coach middle of the season. I've never had that before, so that alone was a first. I just stick with that. I never had that, like coming in and you having your mindset on this one particular thing. Speaking about a coach, he gets fired. Have a GM leave throughout the season. Have a assistant coach leave out throughout the middle of the season. A lot of those things was definitely a first. A lot of stuff that people on the outside may not understand what we go through internally, what we see every day, the people we got to deal with every single day. To see them here and then all of a sudden see them gone. The aura of so many changes like that could change internally that people don't get to see. So that can make it definitely difficult.
Because of that, just along those lines, does it create, I know hindsight's 20/20, but does it create any regret?
No, I don't regret nothing. I don't regret anything. I don't think you can live life with regrets. You just try to learn from it. Nobody never want to take the hard road by choice, but that road came, and now what you do with the experience that you gain from it, that's how I kind of view it.
DeMar, this season, obviously, you guys, we're talking about all these changes that took place. On the court, do you think if this team had like a full season, a training camp, to get prepared for a season, do you think this group has the chemistry and the skill set to really compete at a high level, or do you think that some tweaks need to be made?
I mean, tweaks always need to be made to be consistent. I think we had enough to be able to compete, but to do it on a consistent nightly basis, definitely have to be tweaks that need to be made that fit perfectly. Like I said, we competed with the best teams. We beat Boston, we beat Cleveland twice, but on a consistent level, the right tweaks need to be made so you can do it on a consistent basis. So other than that, we got talented guys, we got guys that's competitors, and at the end of the day, it's the NBA. We're gonna be able to win games, but to win enough games to put yourself in not just a playing spot, right there tell you tweaks need to be made.
DeMar, I'd like to ask you about Keegan. A little bit of an up and down season for him, like many others. A lot of inconsistencies offensively for him, but obviously we all see the upside for him as a two-way player. Just, I guess, can you just evaluate his season and maybe his ceiling?
Felt like, Keegan came a long way from an aggressive standpoint. I think the second half of the season he became more aggressive. We kind of pushed him more. I don't think he has a ceiling. I think, his capability is definitely unlimited. I feel like, I hope I get to spend a lot of time with him this summer, just to really push him, to that next level that I think he needs, and so you can see the Keegan Murray that everybody expect of him come next year. So, I think for me, that's kind of like my main priority is to be able to spend a lot of time with Keegan this summer.
Malik Monk, how much impact of not having him on the court to play with y'all, and his how dynamic Malik is offensively, from being a playmaker, scorer,
big shot maker, big shot taker, that alleviates a lot of pressure, off everybody else, whether if it's me, Zach, Keon, Domas, losing that, you're talking about a guy that could, get you 30 points, a guy who get you 10, 11 assists, a guy that could change the game in a lot of ways with his excitement. Not having that out there those last couple of games, it showed, because a game like last night would have been a perfect game that, we needed the Malik that we've been seeing all season. Yep, appreciate it.
Good morning.
Morning, Domas. If you could just describe the past 12 hours since the loss, the play-in loss, and just what that's been like with the departure of Monty and now the hiring of Scott.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I'm hearing news as the meetings go on. So yeah, I don't have much to say right now. Just trying to take it all in.
Domas, when you look at your future, it's been widely reported that you want to know some answers on where the direction goes within this organization. What factors are you thinking about and considering when you're asking about being in Sacramento long term?
First of all, I want to say I love it here. I want to stay here. I want to win here. I also do want to know what's going to happen. All these things are happening so quick. I want to get together with the new people, whoever comes in, and really try to get this right, and get it back to where it was year one.
Domas, along those lines, do you want to have a say? Like, if you are in the cards for this going forward, do you want to have an active voice and a say in maybe directions and decisions going forward?
Yeah, I wish that would be great. To trust some of your guys who've been here longer on how to try and change things around.
I guess along those lines, you just said you're kind of learning of the news as it's happening. Did anybody consult you at all, whether that be with the Monty decision or the hiring or anything?
No, nothing at all.
And then can I just ask you about Keegan Murray? Had a little bit of an up and down season offensively. Obviously, he took on a larger defensive role this year, but how would you just evaluate Keegan's season?
He stayed professional. He stayed working. It's only his third year, and this is probably my craziest year in the league too. So for him to go through that really early, I'm happy he had some good vets around him, that we could help him out and get through the year, and he really embraced his role as it changed throughout the season.
Domas, Doug Christie, you work with him a lot into your home country. Just wanted to get your thoughts on him and the work that he did this season, which was under some really extreme circumstances. He loves the team, he loves the franchise, he loves the city. He's gonna give everything he has, every day, and I feel like that's why we work so good. We were just together in the office talking. If he does get the job, what's gonna happen this summer? Who am I gonna work with and stuff like that. So I love Doug to death. And we'll see what happens.
Domas, we didn't have a chance to ask you last night just your thoughts on last night's game and your personal performance and just the frustration you might have had with the result of last night and how it all went in that second quarter.
I just feel like we had a plan that we practiced, 3 days, and we didn't execute the plan, nor defense or offense, and that was the outcome.
Domas, DeMar talked a little bit about the need for some tweaks. Obviously, this team went through a lot of injuries, a lot of changes, ups and downs, and it's understandable that it would be hard to be cohesive on the court. What, in your estimations, do you agree with that there needs to be some tweaks, and maybe where would be a spot that you think?
The biggest thing is we need a point guard. That's for sure.
Domas, I know it's still raw last night, but how do you guys move forward as a group, and how much do you want to have a stamp on what goes on moving forward?
We just want to get this right. I feel like the locker room, there's a great group of guys who want to really compete, do the right things, put in the work, and wherever this organization wants to go with the next steps that happen over the past couple hours, it's good with us. We just want to be heard, and really know where things are going to go forward.
Domas, you're talking about how you're kind of learning all this as it comes. Are these the kind of things that you would wish that you had more that were maybe communicated more with you, or is that just kind of the role of the player in this league, and this is what you guys have to deal with?
I think it's kind of the role with the player in this league. Obviously there are some franchises that do that with some players, but not everybody gets that luxury, which is totally fine. But yeah, like I said before, things have just been happening so quick.
Domas, you talk about, kind of being involved in this stuff and talking about how to change things around. Like, what's top of mind for you when you think of how to change things around or make improvements here?
I would say just, like this year there was a new coach, new everything. Changes happen throughout the year, so it's obviously tough to try and fix things together. But if we can organize everything throughout the summer, so going into training camp and season, everybody has a role and a position and a job and knows what to do, that would be very helpful.
Domas, given everything that happened this season, from Mike to Fox being traded and just everything in between, how together has this locker room stayed and this group stayed, and how has that side of this season been?
That side's been amazing. I would say it's probably one of the best locker rooms I've been a part. Guys are great. Guys love hanging out with each other on and off the court, and yeah, I have no complaints with that. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Oh.
Zach, just would like to know your thoughts on the last 24 hours with Monty being let go and bringing in the new GM. I know that's just pretty fresh on everyone's mind.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of crazy stuff in the NBA. I have been here for 11, going on 12 years, so it's the nature of the business. Things move really fast, and it's what we've grown accustomed to. But we appreciate everybody that that's obviously been here and worked with us. I've only been here for so long, and there's been a lot of moving parts. So it's just it's just how the NBA is.
Zach, you have only been here for 25, 30 games. What do you want to see this summer to solidify this team and to make them a bona fide playoff contender and really kind of take the next step forward?
Yeah, I think you just need to find some consistency. Players, coaches, a firm direction of what we want to go into, and guys that want to really go out there and get it. I think that's the only way that you can do that.
Zach, you talked yesterday, and kind of along the similar lines, but you talked yesterday about how, any given game, the guys in the locker room feel they can go out and win, and I definitely can appreciate that. But from the perspective of the roster and your style of play, is there anything in particular that you think could help this team with the core of guys you have, but any particular pieces you think could be beneficial?
Yeah, I mean, obviously roster construction isn't up to the players. We go out there and we play with what we have. Now, obviously, they're making moves to do that. For me, whatever we go out there with it's our job and my job to be prepared and be ready. I've never been somebody to go and be like, we gotta go get this guy or we need this. That's why they get paid their job, and that's why we get paid our money too. So we go out there and play.
Having joined this, Zach, like halfway through or midway through everything that's been going on, I guess what's just been your perspective of the last couple of months and where this organization was at when you joined, where they're at today, and where you see them going with you as a part of it in the future?
I mean, when I joined, it just seemed like they were in a transition period. Obviously, that's why I got brought here for. De'Aaron didn't, want to get out, and I ended up being here. It's a blessing to be on a team that obviously that you want to be wanted by. When I was in Chicago, I think that just ran its course. I was there for 8 years and have no ill will toward them at all. I think I said that before at my first press conference, but this city loves basketball. I've known that for a long time growing up in Seattle and watching basketball. This Sacramento fans are some of the best. And we've seen, at least I've seen that since being here, and how devoted they are. And as players, especially with the situation I'm in, you want to give them what they deserve and the product that they deserve. So it's a something I'm looking forward to and going into the off season. But it is we want to go out there and compete and be ready.
And building off of that, Zach, like how much time do you take now to kind of rinse and get rid of the season and relax and refresh, and then when does the work start for next season and your future here in Sac?
Yeah, I mean, this season's been long for me. It's from the trades to my kids. I haven't been able to see my kids in like 5 weeks, so it's just been long. I'll take some time, obviously. The older you get, I think you appreciate the more time you take off and you start to let your body reset. I used to, right after the season, I'll get right back into it and working out. So I'll definitely take some time, take a little vacation, get back to being a father and a husband, when I get back to Newport. I know my wife will be happy with that. So, but the work, we got to go back and look, individually. I can talk about that is, what I did well and what I can improve on. I think I've done that each and every year of what you can take little bits and pieces of. No one's a perfect player, and at a certain point, you know who you are in the NBA, but there's certain things you can get better at. So, I think I improved on that a lot this last year. I had my most efficient year. 50 something from the field. I damn near led the league in 3-point percentage. So, being able to come back off an injury like I did, where I only played 25 games, I played over 74, 73. So, there's a lot of things that I can take to where. I did good work last year and last summer. I can try to do those same things again.
Zach, too, for you, one, you just alluded to it, just to have the year that you had, to remain healthy, to have a career year shooting-wise, just how gratifying is that as a player to finally be back to where you were?
I wouldn't say it's tough when you go through injuries, because no one wants to have them, and I ended up having to have surgery on my foot last year, and it's fun to get back to knowing what you're supposed to do. Even if it's 1 year removed or people doubt you, or that's what fans and media like you guys are for, is to almost help us out a little bit. So it's always fun. But I know the person I am, the player I am, and that shouldn't change for a while.
And then second one is contract-wise, 2 years left. You have a player option.
Yeah.
Do you consider putting that player option to form? Do you look at an extension at this place, or you go with the contract the way it is right now?
I'm very happy with where I'm at right now, and where the team that just traded for me obviously is some of the team that values me. So that's something I've always put very high. Even when I was in Chicago, they showed me the love of granting me that contract. I didn't have to go out to free agency and go get that. And with being here, if this is going to be an organization that's going to build with me and with us, and we're going to go in the right direction, why wouldn't I want to be in a great place like this? So, yeah, I mean, from what I've seen in these 35 games, even if we didn't end the season the way we wanted to, I'd be crazy if I didn't say I wouldn't want to be in Sacramento.
Zach, looking forward then to a future here potentially. How do you feel about playing with Domas and maybe some of the chemistry that you guys were able to develop, and can you kind of walk us through kind of that process of just learning to play with a big like him, and whether you feel like you guys started to kind of piece some things together?
Yeah, I think it's always tough because going from Domas has had the ball in his hands throughout his tenure here with Sacramento, and you guys have been pretty good. Obviously, you made the playoffs 2 years ago, but De'Aaron was a very ball-heavy guy, but didn't run a ton of pick and rolls. It was a lot of handoffs, and me coming from Chicago, where it was more pick and rolls and less handoffs, because a guy like Vooch is such a good pick and pop big. You have to figure out what works and what doesn't. And Domas is so great at creating. He makes everybody else's game so much easier because he can get you open shots. He's a hell of a screener. You got to find out how, what works best for both of your guys' game. I think later on in the season we started getting our, that DHO game a lot better. But I think anything with just time can help. Me and Domas played with 12 games, 15 games together. As much as we all wanted it to work out, that fast, that's just not the reality of it. It's not 2K, so you need to have a training camp, you need to have preseason, you need to have off season. As pros, we're supposed to come in here and get it done, and that's what we try to do. But, in all reality, I think with time and off season and a training camp, that it'll be great.
Thank you. First one, Obviously, the end of the season didn't go the way you wanted to, being hurt and things like that. But you average more points, rebounds, assists than you have at any point in your career. For you personally, the development of your game, how do you feel that went this year for you?
Like you said, I average career highs in points, rebounds, assists, minutes played. So that's a plus for me. I feel like I get better every year. Now I just got to stay healthy.
Yeah. And obviously when you signed your contract last offseason, things looked a lot different here. Different GM, different head coach. Fox was here. Is this the place you still want to be, or are you having to evaluate those things?
I'm all in. I'm all in. Yeah, no questions. Don't question that.
Malik, second straight year, man, that you were ended the season on an injury report, not able to play in that play-in. Just frustration-wise that you weren't able to play in those past 2 games for play-ins.
Yeah, it's terrible to end the season on the bench, not helping your team, especially when you know you can. So yeah, it's tough to watch that, man. But it's a bright future for us. I feel like, especially with the down year we had this year. I feel like it only can go up. This year been crazy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next year.
So you joke with us all the time that you've been through a lot in this league. Have you seen
shit like this?
No.
Nothing at all. Yeah, I haven't seen anything like this before.
Malik, when you talk about that, what this year's been like, describe the past 24 hours as well when you tack on that to, of course, the year.
That just explains the year for us. That explains it well for us. But it's the business we in. You got to live the next day and the next day and the next day after that, and try to be better. And I feel like that's what we're gonna do.
You mentioned feeling like there's a bright future with this team. Just from your perspective, where do you sort of see that?
Better than this.
Malik, a couple questions for you. First one, take me back to 2 years ago and Beam Team 1. What about that time do you think this organization or team needs to recapture and bring into next season?
That's a lot that played into the Beam Team 1. It was a lot of people hurt in the West. A lot of teams was hurt. We were new. They didn't know what we were doing. So I really can't pinpoint what we need to do. Obviously, it's win more games. But, yeah, I just feel like we got to come out here with pride every night, especially in front of this home crowd. And I'm gonna do my best to preach that.
And in addition to all the changes the organization went through, you yourself from 6-man to starting to point guard responsibilities. Just walk me through all the changes to your game and your role that you had to go through. And do you think there is a ideal role for you out of those 3?
That's a good question. 4. I went back to the bench when I came back too, man. I had to be 4 different players this year, but I wasn't complaining. It was the hand I was dealt, so I was just doing what needed to be done. And yeah, I don't know what role I'll play next year. I felt more comfortable starting at the 2. That was I felt like I was flowing in. I love that role, but it's whoever the next coach is, whether it's DC or somebody else, whatever they want me to do, I'm gonna be 100% in with that.
Malik, this is the second summer you're going into injured. Just where are you at health-wise? How long do you think it's going to take you to get back to a full program?
Yeah, it was nothing like last year. This was a little slight. I feel like I'm probably about another two weeks out from going full. So yeah, probably quicker than that because I'm gonna take a little break, then be back. So probably like a week. But yeah, I feel good right now though. Walking fine, no, nothing's hurting. So yeah, it's good for me.
Malik, you said with tremendous amount of confidence you're all in. What makes you say that with such confidence about the situation?
I signed here for because I felt home. I felt at home. They treat me like home. Everybody's welcoming. Fans are crazy. I love that. Why not be all in?
Malik, you guys had a period of like stability and some continuity here, for a couple years with, a coach in place, a front office, a roster that kind of stayed the same. Like, how important is that to you guys? We've heard some of you speak to just the craziness and the chaos of this year. Like, how important is it that you guys get back to some stability and some continuity here?
Yes, I feel like NBA players, we go off routine, and stability, I feel like, is a part of routine. And when you tweak that a little bit, something can happen. So, yes, it's always good to have stability in life, man. I feel like, because if you're going up and down, life is not it's not fun. So having stability, it just make it level out and make everything go smoother. So, I feel like we need that for sure.
Yeah, Malik, you just received that community award for your contributions. Just want you just mentioned you want to come back because of the community. How special really is that for you? Because I don't know if you experienced that in your other two stops before you got here, but the community has gravitated towards you and your character and the love too. So just what's your true thoughts about that?
Like I said, man, it feels like home. They treat me like Arkansas. A lot of love everywhere I go. Everybody say what's up to me. Don't bombard me. Don't over ask me with questions. Don't over crowd my space. So it's like home, man. And it's always good to get back to home. And like I say now, Sac is my home. So why not be a part of the community? Why not go out and do things, toy drives and things I do, have camps. So yes, it's great. It's a great feeling.
Keegan, can you just describe the past 24 hours for you guys, especially after the play-in loss and then all the events that have happened after?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been a whirlwind of a season, and the last 24 hours is no different. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough to kind of not think about, but just internalize right now and stuff like that. So you just have to move on. And obviously, I'm glad Maya took a chance on me when he drafted me. So,
Yeah, Keegan, I don't know, how would you describe this season for yourself? I mean, I know just personally, was it a disappointing season that you didn't take another leap forward? Was it just circumstantial, or where does this sort of sit with your maturation as a player?
no, I'm not disappointed. I think, especially defensively, I took a really big leap. Being able to guard 1 through 5 effectively is really hard in the league. There's not many people that can do it. But obviously, offensively, you want to be a little bit better and things like that. But there's not really an excuse or anything. It's just putting my head down and still working. Work harder this summer, just figure out different things.
Keegan, building off of that and the defensive responsibility that you took on this season, no, you're not making any kind of excuses or anything like that. There seems to be on this roster, and there has been a lack of depth specifically at your position to help you with those defensive responsibilities. Is that something that in an ideal world you hope to have corrected, or you just worried about what you do?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I don't want to be guarding the 5-man every game. It's not the most fun thing in the world. But if I have to do it, I have to do it, regardless of who's on our team, who's not. But, I mean, at the end of the day, team defense wins championships and things like that. And with Dallas, they got a lot of guys that can defend their position really well, and you see how effective they were last night with that. So,
Keegan, you're extension eligible this offseason. How much do you think about that and consider that with where the franchise is at, and what factors do you think contribute to looking at that?
yeah, I mean, I haven't thought too much into it, to be honest, with everything that's going on this year. But, I mean, obviously I want to be in Sacramento. It's where I was drafted, things like that. So just, I guess, have talks and stuff and talk to my agent, see what's going on, and figure it out from there. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
You seem to have a really good relationship with not only De'Aaron, but Mike. Just what kind of was it like for you to go through the changes that happened this year? And did it make it difficult at all to still just focus on the basketball throughout the whole thing?
I think, yeah, with Mike, honestly, we had a good relationship my first couple years here, and I know he's still in good spirits and things like that. And Fox, I mean, obviously he's been here for 7 years, things like that. And I still talk to him pretty much every week, and but we've continued our relationship, and obviously it's tough losing him, but at the end of the day, that's the business of the league, and just have to move forward, and just obviously wishing the best for both of them.
Keegan, first of all, how is the wedding planning going? Are you taking part in that, or are you letting Carly kind of take the reins?
Nah, I've been sitting in the meetings, but she's been doing pretty much most of it. So I'm gonna help out a little more since the season's over. But yeah, it'll be later on this summer, so we're excited for it.
Congrats again on that. And then DeMar just talked about his number one priority this offseason is getting to work with you and just pushing you. How much are you looking forward to that, and just what's your relationship been like with him this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously since he signed later in the summer or whatever it happened, I wasn't really able to go down with him in LA, but I've already talked to some guys, and I feel like we're gonna have a lot of guys down there. Just being able to finally, as a team, get together and work out, and just try and build chemistry that way. I think the biggest thing too is just having those dinners or doing things outside of basketball too. Then on the court, everything just seems seamless. But I mean, he's been in the league for a while, and whatever I can do to learn from him, especially offensively, will just help me with more dimensions in my game. So,
Keegan, two things. One, do you feel like you have a position where you feel most comfortable and natural? Would it be the 3, the 4?
Yeah, I mean, anywhere on the wing, I feel pretty good.
Okay. And you know, and tell me if you disagree with this, but you've been asked to be a different player each year that you've been here in some aspect. Like, do you feel like that's been beneficial for you in rounding out your game, or you know, maybe in some ways detrimental, or maybe even both?
I mean, yeah, I've obviously had to fill roles within the team. Now that I think about it every year. So with me, I think eventually it'll pay off. And I know that eventually good things are going to happen, things like that. So I'm not worried about anything. I know my time's going to come, and whether it's next year or a couple years after, I know eventually it'll be my time.
Keegan, kind of going back to what we were discussing a second ago, with your development on the defensive end, definitely been well documented. On the offensive side, has it been difficult just with all the players on the roster, you know, losing your point guard, trying to figure out how to run the offense? Has it been difficult to find your place in the offense, do you think? And do you think that's something that can be fixed next season, or do you think you need to just have some more of a overtly prominent role in order to be able to do that?
No, I think in a way it's been difficult just because, especially my first years, we're just so used to the DHO game, the split action, and just all guys kind of moving at the same time, and you never know who's going to get the shot. So, but yeah, I guess a little bit it's been difficult, but at the end of the day, it is who we have on our roster, and we have to make it work if we want to have success. So,
Keegan, yes, it has been a topsy-turvy season, to say the least. But is there anything that you see, you know, that can be improved organizational, structure-wise, you know, to improve some of those, or do those things do not bother you? You're just here to play basketball.
Yeah, I mean, since I've been in the league, like I've learned that like it's a business. Like you've seen this year, there's been a lot of people, whether it's coaches, GMs, assistants, or whoever it is, get fired and things like that. So there's things changing each year, and I think with us in Sacramento, it's just kind of been like a all at once kind of thing. So for me, I'm not too worried about who's in the front office, things like that. I really just want to focus on myself and how I can better our team moving forward, and have those atmospheres where we're in the playoffs and playing in big games again.
Keegan, you talk about like guarding 1 through 5 this year. Like how physically taxing was that for you, and have you had to like adjust how you go about like preparing for games, like just like treating your body and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like, especially this year, just having to be in the weight room a little more, whether that's for just maintenance, whether that's for a real lift, things like that. And then I feel like I took my recovery a lot more just knowing that there wasn't going to be a game where I'm just guarding a shooter or anything like that. Like I'm going to be on the primary defender no matter who it is. So there's a lot more I did, especially scouting-wise, learning guys' tendencies as much as I could, because I've never really experienced guarding fives even in college. So, yeah, it was definitely a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
Hey Trey, how are you?
I'm all right.
Kind of an up and down season for you. I know 2 years ago we kind of went through the same thing where you're going into the summer as a free agent. Just where are you at with this organization and what your experience has been like and sort of this season in a nutshell?
I'd say this season in a nutshell has been a roller coaster. Just from teammates leaving, teammates coming in, coaches leaving, coaches coming in, that type of thing. It was a pretty up and down season for myself. And like I just told Doug, I feel like when I got more minutes or consistent minutes, my game was consistent. When it wasn't consistent, I wasn't consistent. So that's just where it was. Going into games not knowing if I was going to play, not knowing how much I was going to play sometimes, sometimes being told I wasn't going to play. So just all over the place with that. As a player, it's hard to, stay consistent with all those things going on. I think, I mentioned it the other day, I think our group showed some resilience there at the end. And we could have just given up and took 3 more losses and went into some tough environments and got a couple wins. Obviously, didn't end how we wanted it to, but I think it just kind of, fed into our season as an up and down season. So,
Trey, I know that Beam Team 1 year was pretty special and pretty unique, and every season has its own set of whatever. What from that year and that team and the joy that you played with or the environment or whatever do you think needs to be recaptured by this organization going forward, or if you were to stick around, what you would like to see return from that first year?
I think that first year was very unique. I think everybody was excited to play. Everybody was excited to be together. And we just kind of went out there and we just ran. I think we just ran, for 48 minutes. We just ran. We knew up, down, whatever, we were going to go out there and run. I think we did the best that we could with our team. I just think we kind of got away from that free-flowing running pace and just going out and trying to shoot more threes than you, trying to get more up and down than you, and we just kind of got away from that.
What were your thoughts on sort of the changes that took place mid-season here? Obviously the De'Aaron and Mike thing, and then the job that Doug has done since.
It was surprising for me. You're going to the airport and then your coach is fired after a practice. So, I think everybody was a little caught off guard by that. I think Doug did a good job with what he was given and that time frame that he had on trying to get guys to buy in. And his first experience as coaching, and I think he would say it too, it's tough. I don't think he asked anything from this team that we couldn't give him. And yeah, we were just a very inconsistent up and down season for us.
How are we doing, Keon?
I'm good. How about yourself?
It's been 24 hours.
It has.
I would love for you to speak on that. Just your reaction to what happened last night with Monty being let go and the possibility of a new GM coming in, and just speak to the volatility of the season if you can.
When Doug told me, it's kind of crazy. The whole season's been crazy, but it's just not something that I really thought about to expect it. I don't know. I was really still just thinking about the game and everything, and so to see that, it was just kind of another thing that is on your mind at the moment after the game. And I mean, as far as the season, I mean, obviously didn't end the way that we wanted to, and or the whole season as itself kind of didn't really flow the way we expected. So, I mean, definitely some challenges ahead. So we'll have to be better on that.
Keon, you have a complicated salary cap situation with your contract this summer. Just how do you kind of hope that this plays out? You can either be a restricted free agent or you can be an unrestricted next summer, but what are your thoughts on what your contract situation is and how long, whether you'd like to be back in Sacramento?
Honestly, yeah, I don't know. I'll leave all that up to my agent and, let him do his job on that one. But, definitely would love to be back. I mean, I hate moving to, the fans here are great. And, I think the I would say hype or, the love that the fans have gave me since I've been here. And, this is where I started out at. Everything's been great. So, it would definitely be good to remain here for sure.
Keon, another season for you where you've just further cemented, I guess, yourself in this league as an NBA player. Does this exit interview, this going into this offseason, feel any different from the last couple? And how, I guess, confident are you or comfortable are you in who you are as an NBA player, whether it's for this organization or anywhere in this league?
Yeah, I do feel that I'm further along in my career at this point than last year. I feel like I've accomplished more, and I'm on my way to being a better player each year. So, and I think, what was the second part of your question? Right. Yeah, and I'm very. I think I'm comfortable in my role and in the position that I've kind of put myself in, but you never want to, really assume those things because, you just never know how things can shape up for you. So, but definitely felt like I've had a good year for myself, and other teams have taken notice, and our team has as well. So, yeah, definitely happy with that.
Do you have any particular thing this summer that you want to work on, or any particular point to your game that you kind of want to develop more? Obviously you talked about, the pretty big steps you've taken each season, but anything in particular you want to work on?
Well, this year, this has been the most that I've been put at the point guard spot. So, and that just consists mostly of just, kind of initiating and just getting the ball to where it needs to go. So, I think just taking that next step in that would probably be initiating even more, and whether it's coming off to score now or whatever that next step is within the offense. So I think that'll probably be a big emphasis on my development in the summer. But I think just keep sharpening the tools, continuing to work on my shot and get better at that. So those are some of the things.
Keon, can you speak a little bit about just the job Doug did after he took over, and I guess specifically, I'm curious, your assessment of him in terms of the leadership side of being a coach, and then also the basketball side, drawing up plays and doing the more of the intricate X's and O's type stuff.
I think he did a good job for us. When he came in, he tried to keep it real simple for us. We have some really talented players on our team, so just try not to overdo anything and let us go out there and be pros. So definitely didn't want to do too much, kind of let us get to our spots. And we all know the reads that should be made, where the ball should go, the way we need to play. And I think far as his professionalism and his leadership, I think that's a big thing when you're talking about Doug. Former player, he has the respect from everyone, and I think he's telling us the right things, game in, game out, practice, whatever. The messages that he's giving us are either the ones that you don't want to hear or the tough ones that, we need to hear. So, just keeping it real with us. And I think, if you have that, you're not going into any game and he's not telling you something that it's not going to be. So I think he did a good job at that. And, those are the things that you need.
Keon, Malik talked about being 4 different players this season with all the moving parts, and your role kind of changed a little bit really since you've been a part of this organization. Just how difficult was that for you, finding a consistent role, and I guess how would you assess your overall season?
I don't think it was really difficult for me because, I mean, like I said before, you never really want to assume like that you have something locked in as far as like position or whatever and minutes and all that. But I just know I never really got mad at myself or questioned anything when I knew when I was out there that I was doing the right things. So, you know, whatever my time looked like, I wasn't really too worried about it because I knew it would have to come back full circle. So, I mean, and then the year, for myself, I think I had a good year. I mean, I don't really set too many goals or anything, but I think for the things that I accomplished and the level that I played at, I think I definitely made another step in my game for sure.
And then just being the defensive-minded player that you are, Keegan took a big leap in that department this season, but kind of struggled to find an offensive groove throughout the year. I guess how would you evaluate his season and just maybe his ceiling from your point of view?
I mean, Keegan's ceiling is really high. I mean, you know, I mean, everyone's going to have their struggles for sure. So I think, you know, with us having a couple of different looks as to what our team is going to look like and, you know, the way we're going to play, you know, that can cause a little bit of struggles. But I mean, you know, we still have the utmost faith in Keegan's offensive ability. So, and then on the defensive end, we know the defense, the level of defense he's able to play. So, I mean, the ceiling, we're definitely excited for him to reach that. And I'm trying to think of the last part of what you. Okay, cool. Yep.
Yeah, Keon. And speaking of Malik, I know you guys, you know, missed him, you know, these past few weeks. Just wanted to get your thoughts on, you know, him not being out on the court with you guys and playing with him overall, because you've been around him for the last 2 or 3 seasons right now.
I mean, yeah, for him to kind of go down for the last bit of the season, definitely tough for us. I mean, he's a main piece to what we're doing here. So you definitely want to have him out on the court with us. And I mean, you know, the energy that he plays with isn't really the same as the energy that he has on the bench for us. You know, we would like to use that on the court more than we want to hear him talking on the sideline. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely tough for us to lose him towards the end. And was there a second part to that?
Yeah, overall, you know,
Mm-hmm.
playing with him.
Right. I mean, well, Malik, yeah, when I first came in, Malik was like my vet. So, you know, he was the one telling me about everything and, you know, kind of coaching me off the court, if you will. So definitely got love for him for that. You know, I mean, he showed me a lot of things and just the way that he goes about it. I mean, I love playing with him. He's selfless, good guy to be around, real funny. And I think, you know, he keeps it real with you too. So, you know, when I'm out there, if I'm doing bad, he'll tell me I'm doing bad. If I'm doing good, he'll tell me I'm doing good. So, I think I love the way that he keeps me held accountable for what I'm doing out there, and he expects the same of him. So, yep.
Jonas obviously traded here mid-season. Just what was the process like for you individually moving teams mid-season and then your impressions of the team since you've been here?
You know, locker room was great. Guys welcomed me really warm. I was happy here. Hopefully I'm going to continue to be a Sacramento King, and, you know, we'll see where this summer going to take us.
Jonas, last night was kind of a weird night in the locker room. Have you ever been through something like that where things just go sideways out of nowhere?
Yeah, been there. No one want to be in this situation. You know, we all fighting for different situation, but yeah, both teams not going to be happy after the game.
And just playing with Domas, how much has that meant to you? This, whether it's, you know, a couple of seasons here or just this season, yeah, so close with you guys.
You know, I know him long way back, so I'm happy to be with him. I'm happy to see him next to me. You know, he's a great player. He do amazing things on the court. And as a human being, he's my brother. So I was just enjoying the time here.
Obviously, it didn't take long for you to kind of just become a fan favorite here, it seems like. And
Really?
you just you talked about just, we know how much of a competitor that you are. Do you just have a message to the fans moving forward?
First of all, support was great. You know, fans cheering, full arena every night we play, no matter who we play, no matter what situation we are. They were coming to support us, and that's, as an athlete, that's all you can ask, you know, because you might cancel the noise and just focus to the game, but fans are really important, you know, gives that drive, you know, some tough moments during the game gives you extra motivation, extra energy to fight, you know, to be productive on the court. So I want to just say thank you for support, you know, and we'll move on.
What have your impressions been of Doug Christie as coach and just what he provides?
He's a player's coach. He's really cares about players and, you know, try to work with the players, not just what he wants, also what players can do. You know, he scouts the players. So was happy to be a part. You know, hopefully we're gonna continue the journey, and you know, I know it's been a lot of changes during the season. You know, it's hard to manage all that. You know, it's not an excuse, but you know, it's not easy to overcome all those changes and different stuff. So hopefully next year we can be more steady.
Jonas, well, what are you planning on, you know, doing the off season, you know, to get prepared for the next season?
First of all, have a couple of weeks off. It's been a long season. I guess I played every game, so there was no time off. So now I need to take some time off and just relax. You know, spend some time with my family, and you know, forget about basketball, and then see what's the plan, what's gonna happen with the team, what they want me to do, and we'll jump into work lab. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Jake. Obviously, traded here mid-season. Just kind of looking at this year as a whole for you, what was the experience like, and how did you enjoy your time when you got here?
Yeah, I thought it was a very beneficial thing that happened. I thought I was able to come here. Definitely had my struggles early on, but for the most part, I thought I was able to contribute off rip and just fit right in with this team. And very happy that this was the team I got traded to, and I thought I had a really good time here. And definitely not how the season, how, you know, we as a team wanted the season to go, and for me especially, just getting hurt in that OKC game and then just not being able to come back wasn't the way or you know what I had planned. But for the most part, looking back, I think it was a positive thing, and yeah.
You just talked about it, but how difficult was that to see the season end the way it did from the sidelines?
Yeah, I mean, we knew how much talent we had on this roster, and obviously not ideal the way that we wanted it to go, losing to Dallas like that. But you know, it's all for just getting better in the off season and just progressing forward.
Couple of things. Number one, how is the thumb, that area, and how long do you think it's going to be before you're able to work out fully?
I have no idea, to be honest. The biggest thing is I just putting pressure on it, and that's for the most part what was keeping me out of games, just being a defensive liability and just not being able to be that aggressor that I usually was on defense. And so hopefully not long, and I am able to just start the offseason work quick.
You've got some big decisions this summer for yourself. Just how was the experience here? Do you think this is somewhere that you could end up staying? And what's next for you?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see myself back here in SAC. I really enjoyed Doug as the head coach, so him getting that job would, I would enjoy that, and I could definitely see myself back here. I really enjoyed the fan base. I've only played for one other team, but Sacramento really, welcomed me with open arms when I first got here, and like I said earlier, I thought this was a very beneficial move for me, and I thought it played out pretty well.
Seemed it was also beneficial that you were able to work with Doug Christie in a short amount of time. He had a lot of confidence in you, Jake. Have you guys had any discussions about your development going forward?
Yeah, we've talked about obviously he has to get that head coaching job first, and I have to make my decisions, but we'll be in contact this summer, and link up with even some of the players and the coaches wherever it's at, and we'll get some work in and improve what needs to be improved on.
Jake, I know your time in Memphis, you talked about the fan base here. Just how much does that, being accepted by a fan base mean to you, as opposed to, maybe your experience in other places?
Yeah, it's just a good feeling, to be honest. Not really much else to say. Like when a fan base, stands behind you and supports you and how you play, and just welcomes you with open arms when you first get there. It's just a good feeling, and it kind of helps you when you go out on the court to go out there and produce for them. Appreciate it.